FlossTube Stitchers. Thanks for checking in with me on a Sunday night or a Monday morning or whenever you normally watch my videos. I have to admit that I go back and forth between, I wonder why I don't have more followers, to why are people watching me in the first place? So I don't know the answer to either of those questions, but I wanted to share two conversations I had this week that kind of pertain to this issue. The first was a phone conversation with Mary Jo, and I answered with my usual spiel, but she just wanted to confirm everything. You're just stitching in Strongsville? Are you the owner? You're Shelly? You're the one who does the videos? And I confirmed each question, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I've been watching you and I had no idea you were in my backyard." So she lives about maybe 30 minutes from here and, has been watching and thought, I wonder where this lady is. And it turns out I'm close enough for her to shop at in person. So I hope to meet her soon. And I hope I don't disappoint Mary Jo. And then my customer Jen was in this week, and she is such a delight to wait on every time she comes in. And I know she watches because she has notes and she wants to see this in person. She wants to look at the fabric. She wants to buy this. She comments on what she likes about the video and what she learned. And it's just so nice to know that even my regular customers watch me. Sometimes I think maybe they feel they don't have to, because if they follow me on social media or read my newsletter or come to the shop in person, that they already know everything that's going on, so they don't need to watch me. I don't know. So it's always just really heartwarming to see that some local customers do watch me regularly, and that my humble little channel is appreciated. So thanks, Mary Jo and Jen, among others. Okay, tonight's video I called Primrose Pretties. One, because the Primrose Cottage Stitches Automatic came this week, and they are very, very pretty. And also, because in the past few months, 3 different customers have loaned me custom framed pieces that are Primrose Cottage. And so rather than spread them out throughout the year because they're from different seasons, I thought I would just throw all the Primrose Cottage things together tonight to make a themed video. So the first chart is Berry Basket. And I love their finishes where they put the different fabric and tie something through the middle. It's such a good way to hide the seam there. And this is done on light ash gray 28 count Lugana, which I have in stock. It's a very pretty gray. I know I always say that gray is a hard color to get a true sense of it. It's often green or more beigey or, definitely bluer. So this is a really nice neutral gray. So that's Berry Basket. And then Strawberry Quilt. I've been waiting for this one. I believe this, maybe both of these were in one of the Primrose boxes, the specialty boxes, and then they come out with them later. So I've been waiting for the strawberries. I want to stitch this one. And excuse me. Really, I don't want to start this over again. Okay, I'll just keep on going. So it was done on 32 count Berry Smoothie Even Weave by Fabric Flare. And I don't have that fabric right now. And I might try to order it in a couple different counts, but honestly, I haven't had the best luck getting the same dye lot from them when I reorder things. And I'm almost afraid to stitch a model on something that's not going to remain consistent. And the distributor doesn't carry this color, so I would have to order directly from them. So I'm not sure. It's I don't want to dig at fabric companies, but when you're burned too many times, you just kind of want to move on to something else. So it seems like maybe the gals at Primrose have good luck with their fabric, so I may give them another try. But I did have other fabrics that would work. So I at first thought that I was going to stitch it on, remember the strawberry cheesecake from a couple weeks ago? So I have it in 32. And I was thinking of doing it on this. And my friend Emily was helping me out yesterday. And when she saw the 16, she said, oh no, you need to stitch it on the darker one. So this is a slightly darker shade of strawberry cheesecake, and I have it in 16 and 14. And I think she's right. And it might be time for another 16 count project because I've been working on some higher count linens, and so maybe it's time to give my eyes a break and work on this. So I pulled the two colors that I thought would be the most crucial for making sure they look good, and that would be the color of the strawberry and then the white, of course. And I do think they show up against the lighter dye lot, but I think I'll go ahead and do this. I have the most of this, so it kind of makes sense for me to stitch it on something that I'm not going to run out of real quickly. So that might be my Whip Wednesday this week. Alrighty, then I also had gotten in the Forbidden Fiber Co. Dolomite, part of their gemstone series, and this is 32, and it's a little, it has a few other colors in it, like kind of a yellowy shade that goes through it. But if you like a more prim look, the colors also look really good on this. And then I had, sorry, I took most of these out of the plastic bags, but I forgot a few. I had Peach Bellini from Atomic Ranch in 32 and 36, and it also looks good on this. There's another, besides that pink, there's another sort of a peachy pink color that's in the design. And so I laid all the colors, including the green, on top of this, and it also looked very good on that. Then I have Bo Peep Pink in a solid 16 count Aida. And then if you want more of a duller or prim color, I have Strawberry Latte in 16 count. It's kind of more of a purplish tone, but it still looks good with the colors. And it's called Strawberry Latte. So that should work, right? And then I had 36 count R&R in the pink, which I don't think is being made any longer. So this might work for you as well if you're doing any of these strawberry ones. Okay, then the third chart that came was the Stitchers Trio, obviously, with all three of those designs, and they were all done on the same light ash gray. And then this is the sticker that they came out with this time that matches the little one, the house. It says Home Stitch Home. And this is going to be the giveaway for this week. So tell me how you would use the sticker. So a customer the other day, the first one who bought the sticker, I asked her, okay, now I'm trying to do a little poll here and find out what people are doing with the stickers. And I've heard different responses, and this particular customer told me that she decorates her sewing machine with them. So I thought that was a good idea. So tell me how you would use the sticker. And I'll put your name in the random number generator next week, and we'll pull a winner. And then, in addition to the charts and the sticker, they have these zipper pulls or scissor fobs, Home Stitch Home, which is very colorful. And then this one, you could decorate different scissors or your zippered bags that have projects in them. So this could be Valentine's Day, this could be bee or summer, this could be spring or floral. So I thought that was nice too. This is 17 for the three of them, and this is 13 for the single one. So that's all the new Primrose Cottage. Okay. Then When I was visiting my friend Marlene at Christmas time, she let me go through her Thanksgiving and Halloween things because she knew she wouldn't be needing anything anytime soon. And some of these, well, all of them that she gave me are new models for me. I don't always see what people get custom framed. They make an appointment with the framer, and even though I'm curious, sometimes I have other customers I'm waiting on, or they deserve to have a private appointment and not have somebody looking over their shoulder. Every once in a while, somebody will call out, Shelly, we need a tiebreaker, or hey, what do you think about this? You like bee stuff, or you like reindeer, and so they know that I might be interested in the theme of the project, and they'll call me over. But for the most part, I try to let them have their private appointment. So sometimes it's a surprise to me later to see what somebody had framed. So the first two are from Marlene, and they're both Halloween. This is Home Sweet Haunted Home. And you might not be able to tell, it is a slightly over-dyed, plummy lavender color. It kind of looks like a solid color from here, but there's a slight color variation to it. And I don't know what it is. She did this in, well, it says 203E. I think maybe it was supposed to be a 3 because it couldn't be an 8. So I think it's supposed to be 2023. And she doesn't always remember what she used. And sometimes it's from a fabric trunk show. And we may have only had that color for a little bit. Anyway, there's lots of colors this would look good on. So I thought that was really cute. And then this is, it's called This Is Halloween. I wanted to double check my list there. I love this one. I love anything that's typography. I love this when it first came out. I wanted to do it. And so it's just thrilling to me to have a model to look at. And so I can try to decide what color I want to do mine on. And this is also, I think you can tell a little bit more that it's an over-dyed fabric. I did not recognize the color immediately, but I could probably figure out what it is. But it's a paler, not too bright. It really lets the bright colors of the stitching shine, and it's dark enough that the white ghosts show up. So I thought that'll be a really nice addition to our wall. All right, and then I have two of the Quakers from Phyllis Wakefield, who also is a very dear customer and watches. So shout out to Phyllis. And the first one is Autumn Quaker. I may have shown her pieces previously in some of the slideshows that I've done, but now I have the pieces in person. So this is Autumn Quaker, and it's done with one strand over, she normally works on 36. So I think it's 36 because it's wee little, it's like 6 inches. The frame is like 6 to 6.5 inches. So that's really pretty. And then this is a really interesting color to do Christmas on. It's not as bright as what some people choose, and I gravitate towards things that are a little more prim or not so flashy. So this is really pretty. I don't know what color it is. Maybe she'll remember. I don't always ask when I get the pieces. I don't want to put people on the spot because surely we can find something close to it, or you will have your own idea of what color combination you want to do. So it's not necessary for us to know what they did. And as I've said before, I really love having pieces that are done differently from how the designer showed it, or even to have multiple models of the same thing. So we got another one of her pieces that's now the third model of the same design, and it will be so fun to put them together. I'll show you that in a future video. But anyway, it's just really pretty. All right. And then, this is true coincidence because it was just a few days ago that Sharon Durkansky brought me her, I'm trying not to, this has glass on it, so there's some glare. This is Patriotic Picnic. And they've had a few in this, like this size with a truck for different holidays. And you may remember this from the slideshow of the Medina Needle Art Show. And Sharon is a member of that guild. So I did show it in the slideshow, but now we have the model on display for a while. And it looks like this might have been done on the light ash gray as well. So those were the 5 new models. All right, and then I haven't done that much stitching lately. Well, you know, I stitched during freebie February, and I haven't started anything new this year because also in January I was working on previously started projects. But there's a lot, you know, there's a lot to do working up to market. I didn't take any stitching with me to market. I knew I just wouldn't. I've taken stitching before and I don't get anything done. And so I don't bother. It's one less thing I have to worry about packing and checking off my list. And then there's a lot to do when you come back from market right away. So anyway, I haven't been stitching that much, but I did work on these 2 pieces. So the first one is, actually both of these are from my freebie February. So this is Quaker Primitive from Annie B's Folk Art. And I finished all of the over 2. And then this week I started on the over 1. There you can tell. And I actually started with a little motif over here. Let's see, can I bring this picture up real quickly? So I started with this motif, the little acorn, and there was a slub like right there in the stem. And when you have a slub in your linen, which is why we like even weave, right? But when there's, you know, when there's a fluffy slub, then you'll have a perfect X, and then you'll have this really wide X or this really tall. It's just so frustrating, especially when it's a delicate area. And I thought, I just cannot work over 1 in this space. So I'm either going to leave it out or I'm going to work on the slub. So I thought it was more recently than this, but last April, I shared a video for my Tuesday's tip on Facebook and Instagram from Jackie at Cross My Stitches, and I'll put the link here. And she had previously shown how to take slubs out of linen as part of a larger or longer video. And she maybe had enough requests or thought it would be worthwhile to have a separate one. So this is the separate video that just shows how to take out your slub. And basically what you need to know is you're not going to pull apart your fabric because the slubs are basically just fluffy fiber that gets caught up in the weaving process. And it's a natural part of the linen, but it's not the actual thread. And the second thing you need to know is have a really good pair of tweezers. And honestly, she admits in her own video that she's not using the best tweezers to do the demonstration with. Hers they look too blunt to me. So I use the Clover, and I thought they were in my makeup case that I had with me today, and they're not. So apparently they're on the counter at home, so I can't show them to you, but they have really sharp points. And there's a few other brands of tweezers that also have really sharp points to them. You don't necessarily need those to do your whiskers, but you need them for pulling fluff out of your linen. And I just found, the area and scraped at it a little bit with the, your fingernail might work up to a point. You know how you sometimes see something that it kind of just looks like a hair that's woven in? Sometimes you can pull those out with your fingers, but for the fluff, because it's kind of embedded in the weaving process, you have to kind of coax it out. So you take the tweezers and you just kind of poke at it a little bit, and then you start pulling. And I don't pull a lot at one time because of course I was afraid I was going to make a hole in the fabric. And how was I going to fix that easily? Because it was going to have either nothing there, which that would be terrible, or it would be an over one area that you kind of can't fudge that when there's a hole in the fabric. You can't cover it. So I was very careful, and sometimes I also worked from the backside. Let me tell you, it took the first half of a Hallmark movie to get all, I just went to town on the whole piece of fabric. I didn't do it when I was stitching the over two parts. I saw that there were slubs, but I wasn't thinking ahead to the over one part of the project. So I kind of went back and pulled some little, hairy looking fibers from other areas too, so that the whole piece would look more consistent. And it's interesting because the next project I'm going to show you is also done on linen, and there's no slubs, and they're all Zweigart base. This particular one, because it's a really pretty color. This is Legacy Fiber Arts 32 count old covered bridge, I think. I know it's 32 because I was using 2 strands, and the reason I picked 32 was I knew there was over 2 and over 1. And I didn't want to do 36 and worry about how many strands to use on the over 2. And I didn't want to use something that would make a part of it look too thick. So the 2 strands over 2 and the 1 strand over 1 looks really good. So anyway, the old covered bridge is a really, pretty color. I don't know what about this made it, if it was just this yard of linen, or if I don't know how it happened, but the other piece basically has no rough slubs in it. So anyway, I'm going to link that. Don't be afraid to do it, but get yourself a really good pair of tweezers first so that you're not as worried about doing it. And then I had this little, I stitch in a leather recliner, and I wasn't prepared to have like a little container or something with me. So I kept putting these little pieces of fuzz on the arm of my chair, and I kept thinking I was going to brush them off by mistake onto the carpet. Well, it could be vacuumed up, but still, have a little container, because you can't keep track of these little fluff balls that you're pulling off. Anyway, I should be able to finish that in a day or two. And then this one I think is finished. There might be just one area that I need to redo, but this is Dog Days of Summer by Silver Creek Samplers, also from this year's freebie February. I made a few changes in the colors. I picked a different red. I think she called for 321 and I used 304. 321 was a little too orangey red for me. And then I lightened up the color of the dog, the brown part of the dog's body, and the sun is very similar to what she used. It's just a different shade of yellows that I already had, and I didn't have the ones that she called for. And the fan, I think I did this part of the fan in a darker color. This is what they had the whole fan done in. And I decided that I wanted 3 different colors: the darker color for the fan body, the medium color for the moving part of the fan, and then the breeze that's supposed to be blowing. I thought I wanted a lighter gray. Well, from here it looks like the same color. If I would have gone one shade lighter on the gray, I think it would have blended into my pastel blue fabric. And I think this is, I forgot to look this up. It's either blue, I think it's blue-gray. It's either blue-gray or ice blue. But the lighter gray, I was afraid wouldn't show up at all. So probably didn't make any difference that I changed it. But when you look close, you can see the difference between them. So this is one of the disadvantages of stitching from a design that's computer generated and wasn't actually stitched, because I wasn't sure the ear went with the body, and I didn't like the yellows, and the collar of the dog is supposed to be the same color as the fan, and it shows up uh, much more as a contrast on the picture. Although I think it looks better with the rest of the dog body around it. I was thinking of changing the dog collar to either the same red that's in here or a blue. Well, I think this is supposed to resemble Diane's dog, Charlotte, which is a female dog. So I thought, well, I don't know if I want to put a blue collar on her, but nobody looking at this in my house is going to know whose dog this is supposed to represent. So it, probably doesn't matter. But it actually looks better since I got the rest of the brown and the white done. You can see a little bit of a contrast there. So if I don't change the color, then it's done. Alrighty, that takes care of my measly little stitching. And then, yeah, so we did that. If anybody wants my color changes, I can write those out. They're kind of minor, so it's no big deal. But I did keep a list of them. Okay, then this was last week's, sorry, I meant for them to, they must have just shuffled around a little bit. Okay, there we go. I took them out of the plastic bag. This was the giveaway from last week, and it's gonna go to Julie Wood. And I did let her know, and I already have her address, so I'll be sending those out to her this week. So, okay, and the next time we meet, it's gonna be April. I can't believe everybody that I've talked to concerning market has said, oh my gosh, has this month gone quickly? Like, it has just whizzed by for shop owners and designers and, fabric dyers, everybody involved, because there's so much work ahead of time. And then people that are producing things, like having to reprint charts and having to dye fabric and dye thread, they still have a couple weeks of work at least when they come back from market. So anyway, March went so quickly. So, but anyway, the next time I see you, it will be April. So, all right. Yep, I checked everything off my list. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.